Aging is a natural part of life, but it often brings with it changes that many people don't talk about. While there's a lot of focus on the beauty of aging, wisdom, experience, and the joys of life, it's equally important to acknowledge the more challenging aspects. As seniors grow older, they may start to display behaviors or adopt habits that can be difficult to understand, both for themselves and their loved ones. From resisting help when they need it most to becoming overly critical of their health or appearance, these changes can strain relationships and impact their quality of life. In today's video, we'll dive into 12 common but often unspoken behaviors that many seniors exhibit as they age. Understanding these tendencies can help us approach aging with more empathy and compassion, fostering better communication and support for our aging loved ones. Let's explore these realities together and learn how to navigate them with grace. 1. Hoarding more than just objects. As seniors age, one of the most noticeable changes can be their tendency to hoard. It's not just about holding on to old clothes, old newspapers, or broken appliances. On the surface, it may seem like an obsession with clutter, but it's a reflection of deeper emotional struggles. Every item they hoard represents something more, a memory, a piece of their past, a tangible connection to moments that have now faded into time. These objects become relics of their history, and letting go of them can feel like letting go of themselves. The act of hoarding becomes a way for seniors to preserve their identity. When life starts to feel smaller, they cling to the physical reminders of who they were. It may seem irrational to others, but to the person involved, it's a means of holding on to control in a life that's otherwise slipping away. More than just objects, they also begin to hoard emotions, keeping their regrets, missed opportunities, and grief locked inside. Over the years, they may accumulate a backlog of unresolved feelings and trauma, too often with no one to share it with. This emotional hoarding isn't just about avoiding clutter. It's about trying to control what's left in a world that feels increasingly uncertain. Often, they don't know how to process these emotions, so they keep them hidden in plain sight. Understanding this behavior requires empathy. Hoarding is more than just an inconvenience. It's a cry for connection, a desire to remain anchored in a world that often moves too fast for them. It's important to approach the issue with compassion, recognizing that behind every pile of accumulated possessions lies a person struggling to keep their memories, their past, and their sense of self intact. 2. Stubbornness that masks fear. Stubbornness in seniors is often misinterpreted as being difficult or unreasonable, but it's actually a deep-seated fear masked as resistance. It's easy to see an elderly person refusing to stop driving despite health concerns or rejecting assistance with daily tasks and interpret it as them being stubborn. However, this stubbornness is often a desperate attempt to maintain some semblance of control over their lives. As people age, they experience a gradual loss of autonomy. Things they once took for granted, like getting in a car and going wherever they wanted, are no longer as simple. The thought of relying on others or giving up activities that once defined their independence can be terrifying. For seniors, every refusal to accept help or to stop certain behaviors is a defense mechanism against the realization that their independence is eroding. They hold on to their habits and routines, even if they are no longer safe or practical, because it's their way of asserting control in a life that's shrinking in unexpected ways. Behind the stubbornness lies fear. Fear of losing dignity, fear of being seen as weak, and fear of becoming irrelevant. For many seniors, accepting help feels like admitting defeat, like acknowledging that their bodies or minds no longer function as they once did. They cling to their old ways, not out of spite or ignorance, but out of an overwhelming desire to preserve their identity and their sense of self-worth. Understanding the root of stubbornness helps us approach our loved ones with greater patience and empathy. It's not about winning a battle of wills, it's about offering reassurance and support so that they can slowly let go of their fear and accept the help they need without feeling diminished. 3. Rejecting help to avoid feeling weak. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking aspects of aging is the refusal to accept help, even when it's desperately needed. As seniors grow older, they become more aware of their limitations, yet many will still refuse assistance. This behavior often comes from a place of pride and the intense fear of being a burden to others. They don't want to admit that they can't do things for themselves because doing so would be a blow to their self-esteem and sense of independence. When you offer help to a senior, their refusal isn't necessarily a reflection of their desire to be difficult. It's a defense against the vulnerability that accepting help signifies. In their younger years, they were the ones offering support and care. To now find themselves on the receiving end feels like a reversal of roles that they aren't ready to face. They may worry that asking for help makes them seem weak or needy, especially if they grew up in a generation that valued self-sufficiency above all else. This rejection of help often leads to unnecessary struggles. They may continue to do things that put them at risk, from climbing stairs they can't navigate safely to avoiding medical treatments they desperately need. The refusal to ask for help can result in physical injuries, health problems, and even emotional isolation. For many seniors, there's also a profound fear that by accepting help, they are one step closer to losing their independence entirely. It's important to understand that these refusals are often a result of deep-seated pride, and they need to be approached with compassion, patience, and reassurance. This tendency to conceal pain can be dangerous. Without proper treatment or care, a small problem can escalate into something more serious. It's important for family members to pay attention to signs of distress and gently encourage open conversations about health. Creating an environment where seniors feel safe to express their true needs without fear of judgment can make a significant difference in their well-being. 5. Becoming emotionally numb or withdrawn. Emotional withdrawal is one of the most painful changes that seniors experience as they age. With the loss of loved ones, friends, and sometimes even spouses, many seniors begin to emotionally withdraw from others. They become more isolated, less likely to engage in social activities, and less willing to share their feelings. While it may appear as if they are simply uninterested or distant, the truth is that many seniors are simply too tired to keep pretending that everything is okay. The emotional weight of aging can be overwhelming. Seniors often face the reality of their mortality, the fading of their physical abilities, and the loneliness that comes with the passing of people they once loved. They may feel like they no longer have the energy or the desire to engage with others emotionally. For some, withdrawing becomes a defense mechanism, a way to avoid further emotional pain. They stop reaching out not because they don't care, but because they are afraid of being hurt again. This emotional numbness can sometimes be mistaken for contentment or apathy, but it's often the result of grief, depression, or the exhaustion of living with loss. For loved ones, it can be heartbreaking to watch someone pull away. Understanding that this withdrawal is a form of emotional self-preservation can help us be more patient and compassionate with seniors who are facing this silent battle. 6. Harshly judging younger generations. As society changes, so do generational values. Seniors often feel alienated and out of touch with the younger generation, leading to harsh criticism of how things have evolved. Young people today live in a world vastly different from the one that many seniors grew up in, and this difference can lead to frustration and judgment. They may criticize young people for their use of technology, their lack of respect for tradition, or their perceived entitlement. However, much of this judgment comes from a place of loss. Seniors are witnessing a world that no longer aligns with their values and experiences. They see changes in the workplace, family dynamics, and societal norms that they don't understand. This sense of disconnection can be painful, and criticism becomes a way to cope with that disillusionment. The harsh words aren't necessarily an attack on the younger generation, but a reflection of their own struggle to find their place in a rapidly changing world. While this judgment can be frustrating, it's important to recognize that it's rooted in fear and grief. The seniors who criticize may be mourning the loss of the world they once knew, and lashing out is their way of holding on to what feels familiar. It's crucial to approach these judgments with empathy and a willingness to explain and bridge the gap between generations. 7. Obsessing over the past. As people age, they often find themselves revisiting the past. Memories, both good and bad, become a source of comfort and solace. However, for some seniors, this tendency to reminisce can develop into an unhealthy obsession. They replay past mistakes, missed opportunities, and regrets over and over again. They may long for a time when life was simpler or when they had more control over their future. For these seniors, the past is a way of coping with the reality of the present. The present can feel lonely, uncertain, and filled with losses of loved ones, health, and independence. The past, on the other hand, feels safe. It's familiar. It offers a sense of control that is otherwise absent in their lives. This obsession can lead them to disconnect from the present, focusing more on what they've lost than on what they still have. While reminiscing can be a healthy part of aging, when it turns into an obsession, it can prevent seniors from fully engaging in life. They may stop trying new things or forming new relationships because they are too caught up in the past. It's important to gently remind them that while the past holds value, the present offers opportunities for new memories, growth, and connection. Certainly, here is the continuation with the next set of points. 8. Complaining about health but avoiding treatment. One of the most common issues seniors face as they age is chronic health problems. It's not uncommon for them to complain about physical discomforts, from joint pain to shortness of breath, yet they often avoid seeking medical treatment. This behavior can be confusing to their loved ones who want to help, but there are several reasons behind this reluctance to pursue care. For many seniors, there's a fear that medical treatments may be futile or uncomfortable. They may have had negative experiences with doctors or hospitals in the past, and the thought of undergoing tests, surgeries, or other medical procedures can be overwhelming. For others, they may feel that their health is simply deteriorating with age, and that seeking medical attention will only remind them of their vulnerability. This can lead to a mindset of resignation, where they avoid seeking treatment altogether, believing it won't change anything. Additionally, many seniors grew up in an era where self-reliance was valued and seeking help was seen as a sign of weakness. They may feel embarrassed or ashamed about their declining health and try to minimize it by avoiding professional care. There's also the issue of financial concerns, as some seniors might avoid medical appointments due to the cost or lack of insurance coverage, believing that the effort isn't worth it if they feel their quality of life is already significantly diminished. This avoidance of treatment can result in worsening health conditions that could have been managed or even reversed with timely intervention. It's important to gently encourage regular checkups and remind them that taking care of their health doesn't mean accepting defeat. It's an act of self-care and dignity. 9. Being overly critical of their appearance. Aging brings about a series of physical changes that are often difficult to accept. While everyone struggles with these changes to some extent, seniors can become especially critical of their appearance as they grow older. Wrinkles, graying hair, and changes in weight can make them feel less attractive and disconnected from their former selves. They may become preoccupied with their physical appearance and feel embarrassed by how they look. This critical self-image is often rooted in societal pressures and personal identity. In a youth-centric society, aging can feel like a loss of value. Seniors may compare themselves to younger individuals and feel as though they don't measure up. For those who once valued their appearance or placed high importance on their looks, aging can feel like a loss of self-worth. Additionally, changes in their physical health may impact their ability to care for themselves in the same ways they once did, leading to feelings of frustration and helplessness. It's essential to support seniors in embracing their appearance at any age. Aging is a natural process, and encouraging them to focus on what they've accomplished and who they've become can help shift their perspective. Compliments and positive reinforcement can also go a long way in boosting their confidence and reminding them that their worth isn't tied to their external appearance. 10. Becoming obsessive about time. Time becomes an incredibly precious commodity as people age. The ticking of the clock can feel louder and more relentless with each passing day, leading many seniors to become fixated on time. They may obsess over missed opportunities, unresolved tasks, or the idea that they haven't accomplished all they hope to in life. This can create a sense of urgency and stress that makes it harder for them to relax and enjoy the present. This obsession with time is often fueled by a deep awareness of their own mortality. As their health declines, they become acutely aware that time is running out. It can feel like there is a race against the clock to achieve goals, make amends, or experience things they missed out on earlier in life. In some cases, they may start overscheduling their days, cramming in activities, or trying to revisit past goals, which can lead to burnout and stress rather than satisfaction. For seniors, the pressure of time can cause them to become anxious or overly concerned about every moment. They may feel guilty for relaxing, thinking that they should always be productive. This mindset can prevent them from truly enjoying their remaining years, as they are too fixated on what they haven't done rather than what they still can. It's important to gently remind them that life is about quality, not quantity. There's no need to rush or force things. The present is just as valuable as the future. 11. Becoming overly dependent on family. As seniors age, they often become more dependent on their family members for emotional and physical support. While this can be a natural part of aging, it can also create an imbalance in family dynamics. Seniors may begin to rely on their children or loved ones for decisions, daily care, and emotional comfort, sometimes to the point of being overly demanding. This dependence stems from the loss of autonomy that comes with aging. As they experience physical or cognitive decline, seniors may feel more vulnerable and less capable of handling things on their own. They turn to their family because they trust them, but this can lead to a sense of helplessness that diminishes their confidence and sense of self-worth. Over time, they may come to rely on their loved ones not just for help, but for validation and emotional security. This behavior can strain relationships, particularly if the family members feel overwhelmed or unable to provide the level of support needed. The family may begin to feel like caretakers rather than loved ones, which can create resentment and frustration. It's important for seniors to maintain as much independence as possible and for families to encourage them to take ownership of their own decisions and lives. Offering help in a supportive way that preserves their dignity is key. 12. Resisting change and new technology. In an ever-changing world, technology is one of the biggest challenges that seniors face. Many older adults find it difficult to adapt to new technology, from smartphones to social media to advanced home devices. This resistance to change can stem from a fear of the unknown or frustration with their inability to keep up with the rapid pace of technological advancement. For seniors who didn't grow up with technology, learning to use modern gadgets can feel overwhelming and alienating. They may resist using smartphones, computers, or other digital devices because they don't see the need for them, or they feel like they're too old to learn. The fear of making mistakes or not understanding how things work can paralyze them, leading them to avoid technology altogether. They might also worry about privacy concerns or become intimidated by the complexity of modern software. While it's important to respect their preferences and not force them to change, there's also a need to encourage seniors to embrace technology in a way that enhances their quality of life. Whether it's connecting with loved ones via video calls, using medication reminders, or exploring online hobbies, technology has the potential to improve many aspects of their lives. By offering patient support and guidance, we can help seniors feel more confident in using technology without feeling overwhelmed or disconnected from the world. Aging is a complex journey, filled with both challenges and rewards. The behaviors we've explored today are a natural part of this process, though they can sometimes be difficult to understand. By approaching our aging loved ones with patience, empathy, and a willingness to help, we can create stronger, more supportive relationships. Understanding these common issues allows us to better communicate, offer assistance without judgment, and help them navigate this stage of life with dignity. Let's remember that growing older doesn't diminish their value. It only adds depth to their incredible life story.